Okay, hello everybody. Um, Back again to talk to a new video. We had a certain time of break to go through all the material. We've put up many of the clips on our YouTube channel of Knowledge Festival 1, where papers were presented on different approaches to enhancing the immune system and from different medical systems. And we still will be going through some of them to talk about it, because obviously it's a fast run when a paper is presented, and also you might not get all the terms, you might not know all the basics when it comes, let's say, to Ayurveda or any other medical system. So we were thinking about, and also a paper is presented in 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then sometimes it's hard to get all the ideas in the right way. So we were thinking about going through some of them and discuss them and put some light on certain areas that should be known. So, but now we just came together to kind of recap what we got out of the whole thing, and to discuss what we can take out of it, and what we can do with that information, and what kind of information that was. Just before we started recording, we were already just warming up by talking about certain areas of those Knowledge Festival inputs that could easily be used for everyday life, and they actually seem to be common knowledge, but they are not seen as a medical advice. That's more a thing. It seems to become medical as soon as some drugs or medicine or some pain is involved. So just let's go through it. I mean, what's Vinayak? What's your idea on what's the outcome and what we should take away from that?
And I think, as you remember, I think when we started the whole process, it was COVID time, and I think we wanted to get an idea about how we understand immune system and how we can help in that process of optimizing for everybody. But as we went through that whole process with different systems of medicine, I think what we realized about what are the recommendations, what was coming, was not only applicable to just immune system, but also to overall health. Because we could take those principles and not separate them as immune system and health separately. So it was a recommendation which actually applies to everybody for that matter. But of course, the difference was having different systems. We wanted to exclude all kinds of drugs, for example, or therapies which are very specific to a particular system, and take out things that are very common to all of them. So based on that, I think we came to this 9 recommendations, actually, from this thing, which are not based on medicines, but based on what you can do it in your own life, And so I think we can just probably quickly go through them, one by one, and then we can actually see how to go from there, So most of them actually prescribed. Actually, one of the first point what everybody was said was you need to have a rhythm in life, some kind of rhythm of getting up, of eating, of sleeping, because it makes the body a bit easier to, because it's like a program. If the body knows you're going to get a food at a particular time, it makes the body easier to respond to that whole process, actually. So again, we want to discuss what is the right time to get up, what is the right time to eat, how long you have to sleep, and things like that. So all those points we want to cover in that topic of what kind of rhythm one should have, based on age, based on season, and all those things. So we are going to discuss this point again in detail. But right now it's a kind of a summary of all those aspects actually. So the first part is having a rhythm in life. The second part is being aware of the quality of food that you eat actually. So here a lot of people are not aware. I mean they are aware, but there is a certain aspect of like what you should eat, how much you should eat, how long you have to eat, and there are certain principles of food. But not only that, in real terms, what is available in the market, for example, because if you go to the supermarket, you have all things that are somehow not useful or unhealthy in terms of for children, for example. Today kids are having all those chips and and things like that, which are very not good for them. Aspartame, for example, this chewing gums and stuff like that, which are very high in sugar and sugary drinks and stuff like that, so which is very common in the day-to-day life. So we also have to speak about these aspects. So being aware of food means we have to really speak on those terms of what, how much and stuff like that. So that is the second part. Third thing is being aware of the quality of water you drink. We are here in Austria actually don't think about it so much because of the good quality of water you have from the mountains. But when I've been traveling actually, like in cities like Bangalore, few places, we have been actually testing water, and many of the places it has been very acidic, and many places actually don't have good water sources. Everybody's using these bottle cans, and that is also a story in many parts of the world actually. So, and I know we are 70% water, so if you're drinking bad quality water, that responds to so much of health issues in those terms. So I think we also have to discuss these two. And if you see that changing the way we eat also has, and changing the way the quality of water we drink has a certain social responsibility also, because I think here it is not just that I decide to go and eat the right thing, but I think it has, the community has to grow in a certain way that we become a community where actually, for example, organic food is solely produced, or the quality of water is good and stuff like that. So it requires a certain, not only that I become responsible in those terms, but the society has to change for that particular thing. Of course, the third point is doing some regular physical exercise, because I think everybody emphasizes on that we should have some kind of physical activity. Doesn't matter what it could be, running, yoga, swimming, cycling, Pilates. It doesn't matter, but regular, at least 20 to 30 minutes of movement, on a regular basis. I think it helps in so many ways, not only physically but also your emotional status and things like that. So I think we can also discuss in this direction what kind of sport is required, how much has to be done, and all those aspects of exercise we can discuss in those aspects. The fourth point is actually also from many systems. Actually, they all emphasized on breathing, for example, to understand how your breath is responsible for so many aspects. Like, for example, in clinically, we for example, people who have diabetes or high blood pressure, so many patients have high blood pressure. By just changing the way how you breathe, you can actually regulate the blood pressure, or emotional things and stuff like that. So breath has a very powerful aspect, which actually most of people we are not discussing about it. And I think everybody, a lot of doctors and clinicians who spoke about breathing, I think as a part of prescription in their day-to-day, clinical practice. So I think that also has to be discussed in a bit more detail, like, what is the right way of breathing and where to start and things like that. I think we need a detailed discussion on that part. Then, of course, going to the mental aspect, everybody said about meditation, for example, learning to meditate. So, but not only in terms of from a spiritual point of view, but also as a daily activity, because I think you can make everything meditative. If you're present and you can make the things joyfully. So it also not only helps from mental point, but also again it has a certain more deeper sense of what it does. So again, we have to discuss how much meditation is required, who can do it, all those aspects of meditation we can discuss in that point. Then the point which came through was like a lot of people are spending time inside the houses. So it was also recommended that a lot of people spend time in the nature outdoors. So at least once in a while, please go out. Go get into the nature. Spend some time, do gardening and things like that, which connects you back into the nature. So this was also an important point. And 8th point is staying away from some habits, because all of us has some kind of habits, so it could be, I don't know, whether it's drinking, smoking, or having sugar, or watching mobile for 6-7 hours, because I think for a lot of people, I think this is like now a big issue, because I think a lot of people are spending almost 6 to 7 hours on mobile, So some addictions are also which causes health issues. I think we also have to look into those aspects. And the last point was, of course, a bit on a spiritual aspect in terms of we as human beings, because the idea is that you serve others' need before yours, so which requires you to, we can only do that if you see ourselves on a deeper perspective of who we are and things like that. And our the second knowledge festival, which is in fact based on this aspect of how we can actually serve others, and there the obstruction comes is our identity sometime, so that we sometimes think we are different from each other, but actually in fact, if you look deeply, we are all part of each other, so, and how we can find that unity in spite of being diverse, so that aspect we are discussing as part of also knowledge festival 2. And these 9 points are kind of, as I said, they are not based on medicines or drug. If you bring certain changes in your life, that means, for example, I don't know, you develop certain rhythm of living, you get up at a particular time, you eat at a particular time, you exercise, do meditation, learn how to breathe, spend time in the nature, all these aspects you can bring into your life in a small way, so it's not so difficult to start with. There are also other recommendations, for example, like exposure to sunlight and things like that, which are still in the list. So what we are asking also people is that, do you agree with these 9 recommendations? So we came through that, as we know, in the first process, we also want to see whether there's a traditional knowledge there in the ancient sciences. Did people also said in earlier times, is exercise good for you? And you see references traditionally also, all this aspect that it is good for you, So we looked into traditional aspects, we look into the research background. For example, our research studies helping to make you understand that. So I think also research proves that, let's say, exercise is good for you, there's no doubt about that. We also looked into practitioners, for example, clinicians and researchers who have used that aspect in their practice and have benefited, patients and stuff like that. So again, there also we have enough people who came, and we know that that works in that level. So now the last part, we are asking public, we are asking everybody that, let's say you brought exercise into your life and you changed yourself in a certain way, you can share that experience with us. You started doing meditation, you have improved certain things, you can share that experience with us. So it's fine, it's the final scrutiny from public. You can agree with us that, okay, these 9 points are important, you can delete them, you can add something, you can add some more recommendation to that. And the goal is that we come to a point where we can say that, let's say 9 to 10 recommendations, which we can actually I don't know, even start applying at the level of school, at colleges, and things like that, where actually we can bring those things into a practical sense, because having a knowledge, because right now we live in a world that everybody knows what they have to do, but we don't do it. So I think the step towards that is that, okay, we come to that and then practically bring it into our lives, actually, so it will take some time. That's why we don't have a timeline. I think we wait till we are satisfied with the whole thing, so in the next days, I think we will also have some doctors coming in and speaking specifically on each topic. But if you feel also that you can write to us, I mean, you can also send us a video, you can send us a text on all those aspects, if you feel that you want to contribute in terms of whether you have done that personally or you are a clinician who has used those things for your practice, so you can share those experience with us, and we can discuss with us, we can call you for a live discussion, and we can go further into it. So yeah, I think it is we took some time to come back, but I think it is there was anyway a lot of changes that was happening overall, and as also for our organization, I think it was interesting times. We have now a new address, so so
yeah, I mean, it's also important to understand we are not content creators.
Exactly.
No, it's no, I mean, it's there are people, and it's a very important part of the whole world we're living in, that are really content creators, are pushing the algorithm and working the thing, which is great. But that's a different area of life. We are just providing the kind of knowledge that we get our hands on in some kind of digestible way to the public, and whatever happens. I mean, if we need some time off in the middle to, you know, set up certain things or get through things, that's how it is. But we're giving it for free, and it's meant to, this is just meant to bring people in a way together to make things happen by itself. So I mean, many people are also doing things actively in a way that they have a certain agenda, and it going with that, which is important too. But we should understand from the list that you just went through, the top points are more or less not in everybody's hands. So to get a grip on the rhythm of your life is kind of a luxury for many people.
Absolutely.
So people, for example, and it's really, there are studies that show this for today's medicine, that people who change working shifts every 2 weeks are not in a healthy shape, you know.
Absolutely.
So if you work 1 week the night shift and 1 week the day shift, it's just ruining your biological balance. And also everybody waking up to the clock, you know, to the ring of an alarm is kind of a horrible way to you know, to wake up and to start your day, actually. I mean, all these things are little things that might have huge impacts on your all-round health and on your capabilities in life. And they are in some parts not in people's hands, but also, just like you said, the water quality is a very hard thing to get by once you're not in the right area of this planet. And also it's a highly political thing, and as we know, you know, all the big companies are after the water. They want to sell it. So it's all going hand in hand. So, but of course we can, you know, use many of the other points to just enhance our possibilities. And it's also important to understand from my part that you could just start somewhere, you know, and you should never. So this is my personal experience with the yogic lifestyle. You can, I mean, it's the vastest form of a systematic lifestyle, because it's just going through everything. So you cannot start a yogic lifestyle and be there at the first moment. You just start with the first thing that is applicable, that is nice to you. And once you do that, once you bring that element into your life, then basically automatically your body, your being will demand for the next one and the next one and one. And it's a very personal experience that you have to go through to understand it's good for you. You know, it's really, because we cannot tell everybody what is good. as you said, on one hand, everybody knows, but on the other hand, nobody knows. That's why we still have to talk about it, because people have not experienced well-being. So it's kind of a story that they've heard from people. And once you look at, let's say, doctors who are talking about it, many of them don't look too healthy. So just, you know, when somebody is doing something and it doesn't seem to work for them, then it's not really going to affecting your decisions. So all these things don't make sense, because those doctors might, just as everybody else in our Western societies, be believing that you're healthy as long as you don't just fall down. And once you do, and you're in pain, we find the medicine, the drugs, the treatment that we have, just to bring you back up. So that's all we'll be concerned with. And everything else, as long as you're in you know, you fulfill certain expectations that are put into a human being, in the functioning body, then you're fine. You're fine to go. And to me, many people that I see every day living their lives with all their habits, with food and sleep and breathing, whatever it might be, who are going through as healthy, are way unhealthy to my eyes, you know. And I could tell you the things that I can see that are showing they're not being healthy. And so many steps could be taken to reduce that and to prevent the results of that over a certain time, because the results will come, and that's just that that's basically dying. We're starting to not take care, to not replenish, to not renew cells, etc., to not work, and then it will go. So so when we had the Siddha medicine, which has this kind of mythical title of what was it, the medicine of eternal life, or
yeah. But this, I think this aspect, like Rasayana, or where actually it's about anti-aging and enhancing life,
right,
this is there in all systems actually. So
yeah, I mean, but it's to the Siddha medicine, it's just that the whole a real thing, the aspect of it, to bring that to your knowledge, that longevity is work. It's just you have this thing, this apparatus that you're in, your body, and there are certain mechanisms of this, and you can have influence on it, which and that's very important to me, that Western medicine is just, going past that, the whole influencing your own thing, it's just, once it's not working, we go to, plan A or B or whatever that is. I mean, I want to say plan B is that pill for abortion. I don't want to go there, but we go to plan A, let's say. So it's just putting in the medicine. So, I mean, certain areas you cannot do, and should be done on a political, because we should also understand, it's really important for you to handle your energies. That's also my understanding in life. And there is certainly some kind of systematic energy drainage going on. you know, and you might have the right ideas about life. You want to, let's say, help the planet or help humanity or be of some kind of service, but your energy is instead of let's say doing something that can be effective, like breathing for yourself or meditating, you are going through you know, certain areas where you are told to be active, to be a good human being. So I'm just putting that out. Maybe sometimes it's really more important to do the first steps, and the first steps start with you, and then go out and help
Absolutely.
somewhere else, you know.
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
once you're not working correctly, and also if you are that good energy that we have that can help, can be of help, then you should really take care of yourself. You should really be healthy and be there, because we need you, you know. So that's really something that is really hard to understand. Where do I put my energies into, you know?
I mean, like what you say, this particular mindset, you know, because I think, as you said, you have to bring those principles into your life, you know, because knowledge, after all, as I said, knowledge is there, but you know, it is at some time at a intellectual level, you know. So I know, okay, this is good for me, but until unless I bring those aspects into my life and bring it into my own experience, I will never know it completely, you know. And many times now what like education of doctors, you know, because earlier times, for example, Ayurveda or Siddha and all, it was a Gurukul system, and you went went as a boy and came out as a, you know, maybe a soldier come Vaidya, you know. So you were put through all that regime of, you know, you getting up at a particular time, eating in a certain way, and you brought those principles into your life. So that by the time in 10-12 years, you are Vaidya, you know. So but we lost that touch, you know. We became doctors actually. Now we are, you know, we don't practice those principles in our life, you know. We mug up all the stuff, you know, repeat for 5-6 years, you know, and come out and write medicines, you know. So became a dispenser of medicine. So the way the education was, it changed, you know. I think we have to go back to making doctors the most healthiest person in the society, so that when he is seeing patients, he knows exactly where this person stands, and, you know, and can recommend in the right way. Otherwise it becomes very how you say, bookish knowledge, you know. You're mugged up certain things by heart, at certain medicines in your mind, and that's why what happens is, many times, like especially from Ayurveda doctor, you know, we never think about medicine first. We have never taught about that actually, you know. You always look into medicine is the last thing what you think about, but right now the system has changed into a way that you think about medicine the first thing the patient comes into you, you know. Somebody's there, you think about recommending or writing something. So that again, that needs to change at a larger level, you know. Again, as I said, probably at the level of education itself, you know. And so for principles like this, for example, respecting others, you know, if it's taught at the level of school, you know, as children, you know, that's a fundamental thing, that you have to be nice to each other, you know. So this is not something, but again, bringing that practically into life, you know, requires, of course, all this drama which goes along with it, you know, the political aspects and things like that. So it's not easy when you really want to implement, but I think we are going in the right way, because there is enough people who are working to take it in the right direction, you know. But of course the old is strong and it stays, you know. It always resists, so change is always resisting, you know. But I think we are in the right path, you know. And as a small organization, we can do whatever we can do from our side, you know. We cannot change everything,
But I mean, what actually can be done, you know, because also we have to see that obviously it's kind of known that yes, doctors are half of their time in a hospital environment are busy with writing their papers and all the data down in certain coded ways for the machines to handle them. And so basically this kind of medicine is going towards AI kind of medicine. And also we know that certain surgical stuff are done with help of robots and
Sure.
so which makes sense in certain cases also, of course. But I'm saying we're going in that direction, right? So and we're going full speed. So and also the kind of lifestyle approach that we are having is not it's kind of when you look at the whole drama in all the different, I mean, in America with the Trump era, this two sides that are actually not even I don't know, that you don't know where the differences actually are sometimes. Sometimes but they're going at each other. There is no real communication. It's all about, but just the same in India, or maybe in China, or maybe in Iran, or all around the world, you're seeing this kind of really heated sort of confrontational approach to communication, which is not really healthy. So this is and all the machines we have are working towards that and on that. So we know that, let's say, Facebook has been exposed many times that their algorithms prefers conflict and kind of all these things that we know.
Correct. Yeah.
So I mean, that's why I was saying, I mean, you can have an impact on your own breathing, and you can cook your food, and you can reach a certain energy level in yourself and try to then find areas where you could do something. But what could we do, or anybody on that level, to work it differently? I mean, we were also talking about the dietary approach to health issues, that fasting is actually not about losing weight. Fasting is actually about bringing bodies to eat up their own cells that are not needed anymore. So basically to clean up yourself. So and if you go to a hospital, even their food is not really in any dietary way acceptable. I mean, once you go there, it sometimes I had someone in a hospital like 4 weeks ago, and for the appendix, and the food that they get afterwards is ridiculous. It doesn't, it doesn't fit. It doesn't. So that's one thing. And then we were talking about once, because even Western medical studies have shown that that cancer cells feed off on sugar, that a certain time, like 14 hours on, a body starts to eat up the cells that are not needed. After 18 hours, the precancerous cells are eaten up. After 20 to 24 hours, the cancer cells are eaten up. And if you don't get the sugar in and you let the body eat up those cells, that might help. So, and also, why is someone who is on a chemo not told to leave the sugar out? I mean, there is no dietary kind of I don't know, lead to them something. I mean, not even a regime that they get to follow, but just to tell them, because people don't even know they would have this option to go in a different way. So once we have that, we have this kind of system that seems to approach things differently, seems to put a lot of emphasis, as we know, for the money and everything. Of course, we shouldn't be too childish about that. But I mean, basically what we see is the only way to change that is to get the money from something else for them. So, I mean, I'm not sure how we can, it's like the comedian Bill Burr who was saying, just to satisfy the people with the oil and to, because they are not stopping doing that because of the money. Let's give them the sun. Maybe they just switch over to the sun, and if they can make the same money, then it's fine. Let's just save the planet for us to breathe. So what can we give for what we want? Because it seems not to be, going into that direction on a bigger level. So
correct. And I think it's a long-term process, because I think, as you said, I think we are still in a right way. There are a lot of things that have changed in the last 50 or 100 years. I think we are moving in that direction, but of course it is slow. Action orientation is a bit difficult because of all the complexity that is there in terms of implementation of right ideas and right concept into the system, because we have built a system which is already kind of settled into things. So even as you said, for example, in the hospital, just to bring a kind of a vegetarian meal, especially I'm talking about here, maybe in other places it's different. You go with a heavy operation, then you're eating some Schweinsbraten or something really heavy, which is actually stupid, in some sense, because the all thing you have to do is give rest to the body, rest to the metabolic process. So changing those, even though that okay, this may be the right way, but to bring that, of course, it requires certain all those challenges that we spoke about, actually. So I think, yes, I think it's a probably a good start to summarize in a way. And I think we will discuss this, I think, as we go forward. I think we can have some of the doctors coming in, and I think taking each part and discussing it a bit more detail based on how the world is functioning in different part of the world. That's why we will have to have some doctors from here and there, so that we know how it functions. Yeah, I think it's good for it's
that's
good for
good
now.
for now, I think. And also, yes, we have brought up some things that should be talked about. I mean, my last point was also for maybe once we get the doctors on, what is it? What can we really do to shape that differently? Also on the medical industrial level, so that we also have it for, because a lot of things are on a very personal level, or maybe a monetary thing, and not available for everybody. And also, how can we get the knowledge to the people, because many people just don't know. So yes, I think it's a good summary of things for now.
Correct. And then we have to get specificity, of all those things. I think we have to get more specific to, and as I think for us, since our goal should be to simplify these things, because usually what happens in a policy making, it's like, nobody can understand this, actually. So I think our goal is to make it so simple that even a kid or a child, in a school can understand that, okay, I can. So we have to come to that level of ground where we can at least bring some implementation. Even it's, as you said, it starts with you. So you have to maybe change a little bit. Maybe, I don't know, you're eating 3 times a day, you decide to eat 2 times a day, just to give rest to your body. So something which you can bring into your life. I think you start from there, and as we progress, if we can bring a certain change into the society in terms of bringing better food and things like that, that has to be a community effort. So it's a very local community effort, and that's why I think the organization's goal is also to achieve that. That every society is, in terms of food, environment, and things like that, is so locally sustainable. That means we are eating food what we are growing close by, and not eating food from somewhere else. So I think that will require a society to come together and work on it. And I think, and all those things are also to kind of give an idea, because I think it is like, giving a thought into the universe, so if enough people pick it up, and work on it, and I think it'll go in that direction. So I think that is our work. And I think, yeah, I think for today, I think we should be good.
So I mean, everybody, if you watch this on any of the channels, you can just, if you have your ideas on what we've been talking about, just also maybe some ideas and as solutions to the questions we put up, just go to, wherever, to the website, knowledgefestival.org, or you go to the Facebook site. We will have everything down there below the video once we put it up with all the links. But just if you have any ideas, just put it up there. If you have any papers or video, you can send us links, or upload even documents, PDFs to to go for a talk or something. I mean, if it's something for us, if we think it might be a nice talk, then we definitely invite you to talk to you. So that's all the ways to get in touch with us. Also by email, of course, just very easily. So we open all these channels, and for now it's good. Also, the second part of Knowledge Festival will be coming up, as we've been talking about on that issue of identity, and not only some esoteric maybe approach to the word identity, but a very real world kind of approach to it, to understand where it's connected to all these issues we've been talking about, and how it can shape your world, and how it can affect things, and how you can work with it. And we'll be having interesting people here to talk about it on scientific levels, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Me too.